Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel, and this is your tip of the week. Occasionally I get someone who said, gee, I wish I'd see you sit at the sewing machine demonstrating some of the stitches you talk about. So I do have a lot of tutorials in which I do that. It's just me strictly at the machine demonstrating. And they're called my beginner sewing machine tip, and they will be on a variety of stitches. So I'm going to show you just a small sample of one of those, and that's on how to do the overcast stitch. The overcast stitch is used to cover and bind the raw edges of the fabric so that it will not fray and come apart when you wash it. So make sure you're using the correct presser foot for your overcast stitches. All of that information is listed in your user's manual. To do an overcast stitch, the baby lock has a presser foot designed to do that. This is the G foot. Take your thread and place it right in this groove here. There are many different overcast stitch, so when you select one, you will see that stitch come up over here and that you need to use the G foot. Slide the fabric right under this groove right here. Lower your presser foot and begin stitching. And this is what it looks like. This overcast stitch will help prevent your fabric raw edges from unraveling. So many of you ask, where do you get your decorative towels? And I get them at Walmart. I find a lot of them there. Occasionally I will find them in other stores when I get a chance, but where I live there are no other stores. Walmart is it. So these are two of the towels I've recently bought. They both came together in one package. And what I'm going to show you is how you can take a simple towel and get started on learning how to embellish them. So I'm going to give you a couple of little tips on easy things you can do to embellish a towel. So here is a towel that I also bought at Walmart. And I usually, if I want to do something really quick, I'll just take simple rickrack, okay? And I will sometimes just place it on the bottom like this, right on the bottom, covering where the hem is in the towel. Sometimes I place it up a little higher. And even sometimes I'll place it to where just half of the rickrack comes out from behind on the underside of the towel. Now if I'm stitching it on the top side, I'm going to go over to this one corner and I will take the rickrack and I like to wrap it around the back, okay, wherever I want it to be. Place it wherever you want it to go, and that's how I stitch it on. I'll just stitch, I'll back stitch here and then go all the way to the other end, and when I get to the other end I'll cut the rickrack and then wrap that end around to the back and finish stitching, and of course do a back stitch. Let me show you a couple of other things. Now this is tassel fringe. I use this also a lot, and again you can stitch it down near the bottom on the top side, the front side of it, or if you want you can place it on the underside and stitch it down. Now when you're stitching something like this on, even the rickrack, make sure you use matching thread, because if you are, let's say that this was bright red tassel fringe and you were stitching it on a white towel, if you placed it on top you could just use the red thread and stitch on it. It's not going to be a problem. But when you want to stitch it on the underside and your fringe is red, but your towel is white, you want to make sure you're using white thread that's going to show through here. You're also going to, I'm going to just turn this towel over for a second. Okay, turning it over. So if I'm going to stitch it on the underside, I'm going to stitch it with the back side facing up. So I've got to make sure that whatever in my bobbin is going to match the towel, because the stitching is going to show through. Or a safer way to do it is just make sure whatever the color of your towel is, use that in your top thread and your bobbin thread. Here are pom-pom fringe. You can put it on exactly the same way as you did the tassel fringe. Or you can use this little eyelet fringe. The raw edges are kind of showing on this, so if you're going to put this on the bottom of a towel, I would either put a piece of ribbon across it that's a washable ribbon, and get like a polyester ribbon, or you can put some rickrack over this to cover it. And here's some other lace fringe I've also used on towels. So you have a lot of options for just doing a basic little trim to your towels that are really simple and really quick. So here are some finished towels that I have done. These were already printed on here, and all I did was add the trim. There's a little bit of ribbon on here. You can do that also if you want. And remember, you can add more than one row of rickrack if you like. Now, I was showing you how to put pom-pom fringe on towels, but you can also put it on pillows. You just add it into your seam. So as you're layering all your fabrics together, that pom-pom fringe is in there. And the band is the part that's laying up against the raw edge when you're layering all of your fabrics. But let me show you one other thing you can do to add to a pillow in which you can use up scrap yarn. So if you use a lot of yarn, you're knitting or crocheting or whatever you do with your yarn, let me show you something really easy that you can do with it. These are pom-poms, and you're wondering, what does that have to do with a pillow? Well, a lot of times you will see little tiny pom-poms, or sometimes you'll see tassels put in a corner of a pillow. So here's your pillow, and then this pom-pom would be at each corner of the pillow. So let me show you some of the simple steps to putting this pom-pom together. Now, this is a really fine yarn, and so you have to use a lot of yarn to get it to be a nice, thick, fluffy pom-pom. If you're using a thicker yarn, you don't need as much of it, depending on the size of the pom-pom. So let's say this looks about a 3-inch diameter pom-pom. You would double that length. So if you want a 3-inch length pom-pom, double the length, and that's the length the width of the cardboard that you cut. So I'm guessing that this is about an 8-inch cardboard length. This is thicker yarn. I don't need to wrap it as much, maybe 50 times. But on this, I might have to wrap it 60, 70, 80 times in order to get enough. So once you've got it wrapped, you take a pair of scissors and you cut at each end, the yarn. Cut it at each end, and then grab both sides, both clumps, keep them together. Then you're going to take another piece of yarn, tie it in the center. So you're bunching it all up, and tie a knot real tight. So I'm using a different color of yarn to tie it in the center so you could see what I've done. So here it is. This is a thinner yarn. Now it's all different lengths right now. So what you do is you're going to hold it and kind of bunch it up a little bit, take a pair of scissors and give it a haircut. You just trim around it. And keep a trash can nearby because you're going to have little pieces of yarn going everywhere. And that's how you make a simple pom-pom that you can add to some of your sewing projects. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tip of the week and that you've learned something new. Try some of these little simple projects I gave you. They're really a time saver. They also make great gifts. Now, remember, I have a lot of links down below your YouTube screen in the description section. So scroll down till you see the word more. Click on that word. That section will expand open and you'll see all kinds of fun projects that you can do. Now make sure you follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl. This is Manny. See you next time.